Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar for the Internal Audits Application. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer and I do client services. Presenting our audits application today is going to be Miriam, and she's very excited to show you all our audits application. If this is your first webinar, we do have a Q&A section. You can feel free to type any questions in that Q&A. We may not get a chance to answer them until towards the end of the webinar, but please feel free to ask any questions in there if you've opened up your Teams application. If you are joining us on Teams via your web browser, you may not have that Q&A feature, but please you can email me and I'll monitor my email. It is jenniferw@miroms.com for anyone who doesn't already have my email. And I'm happy to monitor that email and ensure that if we get any questions, we have those answered at the end of the webinar. So we look forward to any of your feedback and to present this new application to you all. And we hope you will enjoy it as much as we do. Now, Miriam, if you would like to take over, although please, Miriam is a little under the weather, so she might struggle from a time or two, but I think we're going to be able to handle this quite well today. Wonderful seeing everyone, and Miriam, you can take it from here.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer. And yes, I was planning to do this webinar and then I fell a little ill, but should be good enough to go. So let's get it started. There's a lot to show. I first wanted to start by showing the settings because that's going to make your life easier when you are entering your audits. By the way, there is a lot more features that are coming on tonight, so I may highlight some of those. Some of the settings you might have already seen, which is ability to change your prefix. But what I wanted to show today, because we're going to use it for some of our examples, is the fact that you can enter your own audit types. The app that you have or in your sites, you should have already had some of these, but you can go turn off anything you want. Like if you don't think you're going to be using the gap analysis very often, you can turn that off and then it'll just become inactive, and so it won't show on your drop downs. But you can also add more audit types. So I know if you have, for example, an audit that you want to call it QHSE, or you can even change this one that says safety, or you want to add maybe a different type of audit, maintenance audit, 5-phase audit, or any other audit, you can go ahead and do that. There's also an area for registrar audit types, so that's not to be confused with the audit types. So within the audit types, you have a registrar, but here you have kind of like a sub-audit type of a registrar. So you got periodic 1, 2 recertification, stage 1 and stage 2 that you can select after you selected registrar. And there is also audit methods, which in your case, you might always just do on-site, but now there is also remote and hybrid. There is also the finding types area. So for ISO, typically, you will use major, minor, observation. But if you don't use concern, you can also click here and just make it inactive. So I could probably do that here. And one more thing. Oh, criteria. So this is a new feature that we just implemented. Sorry about that. And we have a lot of criteria built into the system. So you can pull from here and just move whatever you think in your company you're going to use. So you don't need to have a long list. You can maybe just narrow down. And if in the future you want to use some more, then you can come and just add it. So now with that done, let's go ahead and start a new audit. So the ability to add audits is only reserved for people that are admins or that have the audit admin role. So here is where you will see your audit types. So again, if you turn something off, you will not see it. Like if I had a registrar audit, then now I'm able to select the type of registrar audit. But we're going to start with an internal audit. If you outsource, you get a chance to put the organization, but if it's something that you are conducting, then you can say no, and that goes away. So I'm going to start with the outsource, yes. However, I will be pointing out here that if you were not outsourcing, then you could maybe just select user, and then you will pull from any of the users in your company. And that way they will get the email and they will be selected as the lead auditors. But if you put enter name, then you still have a chance to enter a name. So maybe somebody from your corporate office that is not part of your own Web QMS, so you can still enter them. So in this case, I'm going to put outsource. Let's say your audit is being conducted by our company. And so I'm just going to select that. Let's say I'm conducting your audit. And so you can even give me access to your site. And that way I could go and maybe enter the nonconformities directly there. And you can have, there's a space for you to add other auditors. So this is where you can pull from your list. However, on the new updates that are gonna come up tonight, you'll be able to type. So in case there is another auditor from the company, you can add them. Now, on the number of days, we're gonna enter 2. And you will see that once I select the day, so in this case, I'll select, let's say today, or let's just select tomorrow or Monday, then the system will already calculate the days plus 2. However, let's say you conduct your audits in half days, or maybe you're going to conduct one day this week and another day next week, then you can always change the end day and say, well, it's going to finish there. In total, you may do 2 days, but maybe you're going to do those 2 days during the course of 2 weeks. So you are free to put whatever you need to here. Now on the scope, you can put the scope of your management system, but maybe for this audit, you're only auditing part of your company, then you put whatever is it that you are auditing. So here in the criteria, you're going to see now that the criteria has narrowed to only what your company has selected for criteria. However, for this audit, maybe you're just doing a 45,000 and 9,001. And I think we selected an API Q1, the 10th edition. So maybe, every audit is going to be different and you can put what you want. Now, look at that there is a general here, because if this is something general that is just, there is not a specific ISO or API criteria, then you can just select the general. But if you remember from when we were looking at the criteria, there's a lot. There is even ANSI or ASME or other specifications. And now on tonight's releases, there also will be a button for you to request a criteria to be added. So that will help with your audits. Locations, all your locations will show, so you can select any of your locations. You can select multiple locations here. Method, I'm just going to select on-site. And here I'll go ahead and upload the agenda. And the agenda, you can just easily drag and drop, and then it will just put it there. So it's actually very easy to drag and drop any checklist or any other documentation. So once you are done, you can save if you want to come back to it, or you can save and submit, and that will actually just add the audit there. Now there's a question to notify all auditors, because remember you added an auditor here with an email, and if you notify, you can say yes, and that way they get an email, and that will help them know that the audit has been added or that they have been assigned as auditors. So if you leave it at yes, that will happen, or if you say no, then it won't be added. Okay, so the audit is here. Now I can go and look at the audit in detail. So you can see here, this is a 2-day internal audit. This is the criteria. This is all the information. You can see there that the agenda's there. Now, this audit is ready for me to start adding information. So one of the first things I can do is take attendance, and attendance can be added as you do the audit. So you can pull in people from your company. You can say they attended the opening meeting, and then you can add other people, and you can say they were interviewed. Maybe as they are interviewed, you can check them. So you can continue to add people as they are part of the audit. However, if you maybe have some guests or some other people that participated that are not part of the audit, you can always just drag and drop your list of attendance here, or even put any comments. You will need at minimum one person. So if you don't want to be doing this, you can add at least yourself, so that the system will count as that step being done. Because if you don't do that, the system is counting that as one part of the audit that has not been completed, and that's what it takes into account when looking at the status. So I did the attendance. Let's say I conducted the audit and I'm done, and now I'm ready to do my findings. So I may have noteworthy efforts. Those are very simple. I can enter my summary here. So ready. So I can enter company has, yeah, that's good. Management is extremely involved. It wants to. Okay, that's my summary. I have my paragraph. I can add any information if I had any noteworthy efforts. Maybe I have a picture I want to upload. You know, if in your company you want to do that, you can. Once you're done, by the way, you can add multiples as well. So if you have more, you can add lines and just add them really quick, or even import. But if not, you can just come back here. You can save, and maybe at the end of your audit, you want to check everything. But if you're ready, you can submit. And now you have that noteworthy effort here. So now I'll show us adding an observation. So when you add findings, you can see here, there's different findings, and these are the ones that you allow. So remember how I turn off the concern. I made that inactive because that's typically used in API environment. So in this case, I just turn it off, but maybe in your case you use it. So I'll go ahead and do the observation. So for observation now, as you know, observation is a kind of like a near miss. Maybe it's just something where I feel the auditor feels something is going wrong. So it could be against something they found, maybe nothing, or it could be against the standard, or it could be against your internal documents. So if I say this is going to be against your standards, in this case, let me see. Yeah, if it's against your standard, then I'm going to show that when we do the nonconformity also, you will see the criteria that you selected, or it should have been the criteria that you selected actually, which in this case, we can put 9001, and then you will see the clauses. But for this case, we'll just do one of your internal documents. So you select the process. So let's say it was on engineering. And for the summary, I will put process or product design checklist. I guess not good. And I have my comments here, and that's gonna permeate here, by the way, but you can remove it and then add more information. But if you didn't have anything, at least you have a starting point. Now here under the document, you can select or at least enter your document. So let's say this is your engineering. So I'm gonna put engineering, and you can even put the section. In the future, we like to hook this with your own documents, but for now you will enter it. And of course, you can also drag and drop any other evidence you have. Again, you can add multiple and you can import, or you can enter one by one. So in this case, I will save and submit. But you can also save, and now you have a one noteworthy effort and one finding. So I'm going to enter one more, and this is going to be a minor nonconformity. So if I click here, I'm going to click add a finding, minor nonconformity, and I'm going to enter it against a standard. So my process is going to be inspection. My summary title is going to be here. And my criteria, I'm going to make it 9001, 2015. So by the way, that should only be pulling your criteria. We will have to see. And here I'm going to pull 7.1. So it is against calibration resources. So when you do that, the system brings all 7.1. And so here you can just delete everything that it is not needed, because I know what exactly my criteria is against. And I'm going to just leave the 7.15 monitoring and measurement. And I'm going to leave the organization shall to the requirements. A and B, actually it was B that I wanted to do. So this will facilitate just writing your nonconformity, because you have all the requirement there, and I know this is against this area. So then on my failure, I'm going to enter what my failure is. And under the description, I have my description here with my different examples, which, by the way, here you will see that now all of our input fields have the ability to add some formatting. So you can add formatting, bold. So you're able to do some functions here, some formatting functions. So now that I have my nonconformity ready, I can save or just go ahead and submit. Just like the other ones, I'm also able to add multiples at once. But if I'm good with it, I can just save and submit. So now you can see this is my audit. My attendance is done. I have one noteworthy effort. I have two findings, an observation and a nonconformity. So with this done, I am now ready to assign my findings. I was going to do a registrar audit, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just do these assignments, just so that we don't lose track of these. So basically, I need people to be working on this, right? Or if you are in charge of this audit, you want somebody to maybe start looking into this observation and nonconformity. So that's why you need to assign these findings. and you will just do it by clicking this button. The noteworthy efforts don't need assignments because those are just good things. There's nothing to do, but on this one you need to. So when you click assign findings, they will all come here. All observations will be together. All nonconformities will be together. You have the description here, and so you're able to maybe remember what they are about. And here you will assign who to do the action and verification for the observations. But in the case of nonconformities, you will assign who to do the root cause analysis and the review of effectiveness. And I'll explain why these are different. In the observation, there is no root cause analysis, basically just somebody taking care of that and somebody verifying that that was taken care. So you can assign to anybody. So in this case, I'll just assign to Miro Info to do both. And these dates are all preset on the settings. So this is 7 days from the day of today, and this is 15 days from the day of today. So you can change those settings yourself, and you can change it to 3 days, 5 days, or you can change it now anyways, if you decide that you wanted this to be done closer. Now, in the case of the root cause analysis, you can also decide who you want to assign to. So I'm going to assign to Miro Info. The same thing, these days are coming from the settings. And then you select the review of effectiveness. So I'm going to select the same. And then when you're ready, you submit. And now those people that were assigned, they are getting an email with the notification that they have been assigned these findings and they need to work on them. And so that way they can start their own task. Okay, it's taking a little longer than usual. Let me open another. I think I was going to add a registrar audit, but it is the same process, and I already demonstrated how you will add the registrar and add the registrar sub audits. And it will be the same if you wanted to add like a customer audit. So this is something that I want to explain because that's another improvement that is coming tonight. If you select a customer audit, right now you had it outsourced or not, but this is changing because a customer audit is really mostly just to know who the customer is. So that's the field you will see now. And if you are doing a supplier audit, you will also have the ability to select from your own supplier. So both customers and suppliers will be coming from your own, system, the Web QMS. The customers are coming from your customer contacts app, and the suppliers will be coming from your ASL app. So that is it. And if you do any other type of audit, so let's say you're gonna do a safety audit. I didn't have that. But if you were to do another audit, it's the same process. You can outsource or not outsource. If you outsource, you can put the organization or not. So let me go now to my task. So showing the task here, you will see anything that is pending for you. So if you had audits open out there, if you have pending attendance or pending findings, they will all show there. Of course, this is our demo, so there's several of them, but in your case, you shouldn't see any. For example, for this audit that we just entered, the 11, there is nothing pending because we got to enter some attendance and we got to enter some findings. So as far as any activities, there is nothing pending yet. Now, as far as the findings, if there's any findings pending, they will be there or in draft. So findings that were saved but were not submitted, they will show up here, or any findings pending for you to do. Maybe if there's any actions, they will be there as well. So let's go back to our audit. And now you can see that the nonconformity is awaiting RCA and it was assigned to Miro Info, and the observation is awaiting action and it was assigned to Miro Info as well. But so you can see here the stage, and you can see here who was assigned to. So if I click, let's click first on the observation. The observation, we made it very simple. The observation itself becomes the action pretty much. So here is the finding created when it was assigned, and here is the action that is pending. So we'll go as Miro Info and try to take care of it. Now, in the case of the nonconformity, that's different. Now that requires root cause analysis. So there is the root cause analysis tool, the containment, and also an area to add actions. So we're gonna go through both of those as Miro Info. So I'm gonna pause so I can go as Miro Info and share my screen on that. So in the meantime, if anybody has any questions, maybe you can submit them.
Miriam, we do have one question so far.
Okay.
And that is, will the assigned findings integrate with the CIP workflow, or will that be separate?
Okay, that's a very good question. So let me try to share my video here. Okay, so that's a very good question. If you may have noticed, we have been removing a lot of the components that was on the CIP because that was the easiest way to redesign the CIP. The CIP is a really good app, and it was very difficult to try to recreate all at once. And so when we started taking baby steps, then that's how we've been able to, in the past year, just really upgrade all our apps. And so the idea is that, yes, in the future, it will all come back together. But for now, they are separate. So right now, you have your actions from your new management review, all the nonconformities from the audit separate, customer satisfaction complaints are all separate, but everything is having the same engine. And so the last thing we'll do is we'll redo the CIP, and now we'll bring it all together, where you can either see them separate or see them on its own place, so to speak. But that's the idea. But for a while, it's going to be separate because the CIP is still running on an old engine. That's kind of an explanation. So, and let me know if that answers your question. So now I'm assigned as Miro Info, and I do have abilities to add audit as Miro Info, but I'm just gonna sign in so I can go see this, or I can go actually see on the My Tasks, and I will see those two audits waiting for me. So I have audit 11, observation 1, and NCN 1, both waiting for me. So if I go first to the observation and I'm ready to answer, I will just put my comments here so I can say, we redesign the checklist. Oops, okay. I can attach any information and I can submit. And now you can see that it moved to verification already. So I probably already got an email notifying me that I need to do the verification here. But now if I go back, and let me refresh. Now, of course, because I am also in charge of it, is here, but it should be waiting more on the verification. So if I go to the nonconformity, now you can see I'm gonna do the root cause analysis. So these are the RCA tools that you can also add under settings. Okay. I have my containment. I'm gonna put for now just test, but I do have my root cause analysis here. And I'm going to add 3 actions. So this is one thing that a lot of people wanted, is the ability to assign actions when you're doing a root cause analysis and assign them to specific people. And so that's what I'm able to do now. We are able to assign actions. So for this particular root cause analysis, I have 3 actions that we're going to add. And I'm just going to keep assigning more to the mirror info. And you can see here the same thing is these dates are coming from the default dates that are on your settings. And I can assign another action. And you could assign these actions to anybody. So maybe I'll assign to Gina. And I could change the days if I wanted to, and I'm going to assign one more action. And I'll assign it to Jennifer. So when I'm done, I can check, I can save and come back, or if I'm ready, I can just submit. And now the RCA is submitted. This is done. You can see now that the Actions and Verification tab open. And now you can see the actions and they are ready to be completed. So I will stop and go back to sharing from my other screen. In the meantime, do we have any other questions?
Not yet.
All right, so going back here, I can see, oops, that, yeah, so this one is awaiting actions and this one is already awaiting action verification. So if I go back to the observation, we already saw this, right? And if I go back to the actions, I'm sorry, if I go back to the nonconformity, you can see that here are the 3 actions. They are all waiting the completion of actions. So if it would have been assigned to like Jennifer, she will only be able to complete or will see the action that she needed to complete. And then I can see in the history that what has taken place, and I can see all the actions there, who it was assigned to, and then of course they haven't been completed. All right, very good. So then what else you can do here is you can look at your reports. So on the reports, you have the audits. All the audits are here. And if you expand them, you can see all the findings for that audit. So it's kind of like a all in one place. Maybe in this audit, there's no finding. That's why there's nothing to expand. And then if you just wanted to see a list of all findings you've ever had, this is what they will be. If there are other reports that maybe you think will be valuable, we'll definitely like to know. We also have here the key performance indicators. You can search by your location. You can search by the criteria. Oh, that criteria we also need to narrow it to your company. By the audit numbers, I guess, and you can search by dates. And there's 6 different or 7 different charts for you to see different information. And by the way, these charts, this is not a new feature, but just to let you know, if you only wanted to print a few charts, you can always say, well, I don't want to print this chart, I don't want to print this chart, and you can always just print, and it should only print the charts that you check and not the ones that you didn't check. Yeah. So besides that, what else we have here on our main page? There's a pagination with the 50 items per page. You can change that. The column picker, which admins can use. So if there are other columns that you want to see, you can add them. Or if there are columns that you don't want to see, maybe you want to see some other information, you can. So for example, I may not want to see which organization actually conducted the audit, but I may want to see if it was outsourced, then I can do that. And you can always just do it for yourself or share with everyone. As an admin, you'll be able to do that. If you say update, then it's change now. And you can print and you can download the information here. So I think that's most of it. One last thing maybe I want to do here under the card settings. I mentioned this, but this is where the defaults are. For the due date, for the RCA, that's 15 days. The review of effectiveness is 30. Action due date is 7, and action verification is 15. So you can change these default days and save it, but of course that will only be default. You can always change it if you needed to on every specific finding. All right, that's all I have actually. Unless anybody wants me to add another audit.
Does anyone else have any other questions? We'd be happy to answer them. I don't see anything yet. If we don't have any other questions, as usual, this video will be available for your viewing in the next few days, and you will see an email come out with that link for the recorded session and webinar that you can share as well. Miriam, do you have anything else you would like to add?
Let me see. No, I mean, I could do more audits. I could add more of the same.
That should be fine. All right, wonderful. Thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to your feedback on this application as you begin using it, and hopefully this is beneficial to your organizations. This application will continue to grow and improve throughout as we further develop the application. And again, we look forward to your feedback. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.